There we go. Now we're in. All right, guys. How's it going?
Hey, good evening, everyone.
And happy Veterans Day. All our veterans out there. So we'll wait a few minutes to get some people on, and y'all start shooting us some questions. It's pretty cool. Pablo Guzman, how's it going, man? What's up? Thanks for checking in, watching. Somebody's got to have a question out there. What's some questions you've had recently? Anything new?
Not really off the wall, just everyday stuff.
Anything from like consultation calls that's been new?
Not really, no. I mean, average questions. Everybody wants to know why Florida's so expensive.
Oh, yeah. We added Florida like a month and a half ago, and it's definitely the worst.
Yeah, by far.
Mackenzie, how did you get into this? A little bit of frustration.
Yeah.
And actually Nick was the one that told me to start YouTube. Everybody that's done anything or like had success from, or gotten info out of this YouTube channel, it's in part thanks to Nick, because he kept bugging me to do this.
Took a while, but we're here.
Yeah. Pablo, you got a question? What you got? I'll say a little bit more while Pablo's probably typing. I just, been doing insurance for a little bit and wanted to get more info out there for people. I run into, people asking the same questions a lot or hearing some like misinformation. So just trying to make things a little bit easier, because starting a trucking company is not that hard until you have FMCSA and insurance and all the other regulatory stuff. Like, it's not as simple as just hopping in a truck and going. There's a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of stuff to keep up with so that you can keep rolling. So, yeah. All right. So, Pablo, how do you
go ahead and click the question and it'll show it on the screen for us.
There you go, Pablo Guzman. So after I filed for FMCSA MC number, I didn't get insurance before the 30 to 60 days. What happens now? All right. I'll take this first one.
All right.
It's a little random. So you don't have to get insurance for like 60 to 90 days before your pending application. So like as soon as you apply for DOT and MC, you can apply for DOT without MC, right? That's a possibility if you're not crossing state lines. Okay. If you are applying for interstate authority, right? Motor carrier. You normally have like 60 to 90 days to get like everything done. Your BOC3, insurance, all that good stuff. To actually go from pending application, which is what you immediately go into as soon as you apply, to active authority. All right. If you don't do that in like 90 days or so, then you can have your like application go inactive. But sometimes it takes longer than 90 days. I mean, I've seen people 6 months later, that application is still pending. Yeah, sometimes I've had people call FMCSA and like try and extend, just make sure that like the application is going to continue pending for like the next week or two while they're getting insurance in place and other things. Maybe they're waiting another week to get a truck, whatever. Those are all possibilities, but yeah, we got a couple questions. hopefully that answers the 30 to 60 day deal. Yeah, if you're in a situation you need to try and extend it, just call FMCSA. All right. I have a question for you. With a cargo van, can you just get commercial van coverage? Cargo.
Yeah, so he had left a comment a little bit
Oh,
further
okay.
down, so he was
Okay.
mistaken when he was typing it out.
Sorry, cargo
So
insurance.
Big Les is asking, can he get just a cargo policy by itself for a cargo van, just cargo coverage?
You can. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not really
Beneficial.
Well, I mean, if you're not crossing state lines, you're under 10,000 pounds, you could have a cargo policy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a scenario. There's more that we would have to ask you about your operation to like answer that question properly, right? So, like, if you're going to cross state lines, you need authority. Like, so you need DOT and MC number, regardless of how much you weigh. All right. So if you're crossing state lines, hauling other people's stuff, and you're getting paid for it, right? So you're a interstate motor carrier. You have common motor carrier authority more than likely, unless you only haul for one customer, then you would have, or maybe just one, like you have contracts with individual customers. That's contracted or
Contracted carrier.
contract carrier, not common carrier. We don't hardly ever deal with those anymore. Even if you are like starting off as a contract carrier, which would be really rare, you might want to do backhauls, and that's where you need common authority. Anyways, that used to be a thing like years ago. Everybody's pretty much common carriers these days. Goodness, hold on. So yeah, that could have, yeah, technically yes, you can just get cargo coverage, but you're probably going to need auto liability with the motor carrier filings if you're crossing state lines.
So let's go back to Pablo real quick before we
Pablo?
go past that.
Okay.
So he said that he missed his 90 days to get activated. So you can contact the FMCSA, and they may give you the option to basically reactivate your application. Similar to when an authority goes inactive, you have an $80 reinstatement fee. They may give you the option to reinstate the application without having to start over. If they don't, then you would have to start a new application.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How long does it take to get your IRP plates? Depends on what state you're in. Normally, you just like go get them.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long. I know California has a specific process through their DMV that you have to go through to get it done. I think that is the only exception. You should just be able to go to the IRP plate office and go ahead and get that knocked out.
Yeah, IRP can be a pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I'm about to have to do a little bit of work on that too. All right. Sage, hey man. All right, there we go. You're in Georgia, Kadri. IRP plates in Georgia. I don't know. It just depends on. Really, it depends on like here in North Carolina. Like you go wait in line. There's 2 offices. There's like one in Charlotte and one in Raleigh. But there's also like services, like service providers that you can pay where they go do it for you. It might cost like twice as much, or a couple $100 extra for them to that's the fee they're going to charge for doing it for you. I know a lot of companies do that. So if you need to save the time, you got too much, you can't spend hours waiting in line. There you go. All right. Let's take a look here.
Question from Wesley here. Just grab my iPad so maybe I'll take a look at this.
Wesley Vanderhorst.
Hey Wesley, just a quick question for you there. What's the name of your business?
Vanderhorst and Lay, I believe. Unless there's another Vanderhorst. I'm having progressives call to me and telling me that my policy wasn't canceled in time and there's a new balance. What should I do about that? Timing on canceling a policy. Well, like, here's one thing a lot of people don't realize. I don't know the whole situation here, but if you don't revoke your authority and request that your insurance be canceled, like your authority has to be inactive. So like you normally have to do a voluntary revocation of authority for that. And if you don't do that, then like you'll hit your billing, like where your bill is due, goes past due, and then Progressive or any insurance company pens you for cancellation. And because you have motor carrier authority, they have to wait 35 days after their like billing grace period, essentially. So that's where if you don't do a voluntary revocation of your authority, it can rack up another month and a half, 2 months of billing. But it's like it's a trade-off, right? So like if you're getting behind and like maybe I see this all the time with people that are into more seasonal stuff. Um, you might get a little bit behind. And so like that 35 days kind of saves you sometimes, but at the same time, um, it can hurt a little bit. Big less. Thank you. Also, are you still familiar with IFCA at the from state of California? I forget. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, so sorry. So thank you. You're still familiar with IFCSA, State of California gas tax, just received a text from them. I have so many days to file. Have not got a truck yet. Do I need to file?
California makes everything
California
complicated.
does make everything very complicated. I'm honestly not familiar with it.
Gas tax. Yeah.
I'd honestly need to do a little bit more research to answer the question properly.
I'm sure there's like a state website for that with like a FAQ where you can find all that out. I'll follow up on this. We are slowly progressing towards working in California right now. Like if you've got if you're trying to get started or you currently have business out of California and want to get insurance, we've got a referral partner for that, another agency we work with. But we're slowly getting there. It's just California is like completely different when it comes to doing business in the world of insurance. So it's something we've kind of like got to build up to do. All right. If next one, but sorry, I'm pulling it right back up. Big Les, I'll research that and probably post it in the comments later this evening. All right. Next, Sage News. If insurance goes up to $2 million, what is the price difference? $1
or $10,000
or $1 million.
Really depends on several factors.
No, so like we keep hearing about like the requirement for BIPD or auto liability going up to 2 million, and that's so scary. I ran like 10 different clients, like just quoted to try and get like percentage differences because that's what we can really use. I saw from a 5% increase to maybe 25, 30% increase. 30. So it's not like you go from 1 mil to 2 mil, your price doubles. All right. No, if you've got, and it's of course, again, like very individual. If you've got claims in your, past 3 years or so, or maybe more, it could probably hurt. It could be more. It might be 30, 40, 50% more. Yeah. But if you've got, a good clean record with all your drivers and no claims, anything like that, like you're probably not going to see that big a difference. And it also depends on the insurance company. Every insurance company is going to be different, and a bunch of them offer 2, 5, 10 mil. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like a exponentially, downward curve. It's not like it's going crazy with going up. Oh God, what is the camera doing? So yeah, not so crazy. I know a lot of people talk about that, and we've talked about it in the past. But it's not like, oh my God, it sucks that it would go up, but I don't know. And another thing, just speculation, being in this industry, I don't think it would go up that much immediately for everybody. I think once all the attorneys get out there and start racking up $2 million claims where they were getting $1 million payouts, then, a few years down the road, then yeah, it will hurt, but it's going to hurt anyways. Truckers are going to keep wrecking. Everybody wrecks. Everybody eventually wrecks. So like insurance rates got to go up. If the insurance company's not profitable, it hurts because then you have less options, right? Like we need more insurance companies that will offer insurance to truckers, hands down. We need more competition, and like, especially for new ventures, there's only a couple options in every state.
Before we move on real quick, I wanted to just, so Wesley, I know you were asking about the cancellation, having a bill from Progressive after everything was all said and done. I'm going to reach out to you directly after this live, and I'll go over the details with you. I just need to be able to take a look at your policy first that you had with us, and we'll go from there. And then I know Sage had another question about what insurance companies look for when it comes to pricing, MVRs, et cetera. So there are three big factors, especially when it comes to Progressive, that an insurance company looks at. MVR is huge, credit score of the business owner, and then last would be age of drivers. You have like what we call a preferred driver, and that would be someone over the age of 35. Typically, when you see someone between about 23 and 34, that would be kind of middle of the range. And then anyone 21, 22-year-olds, they're pretty expensive in most cases. They're kind of considered like to have their permit. They don't really have any driving experience in the commercial world, so it can be pretty expensive the younger they are. So that's something to consider when you're hiring drivers or getting into the business for yourself. If somebody's straight out of high school or out of college wants to jump into the industry, they can expect to see higher premiums, when they're much younger.
Yeah. And just to add to that, like you talk about credit. Did I hear you mention
I
credit?
mentioned it just briefly.
Yeah. Your credit score can be like one of the biggest things, especially with Progressive. It kind of boils down to like, you'll get on like Facebook groups and be like, oh my God, Progressive offered me this crazy number. And we see it all the time. I mean, I literally this year I've seen the range is really spread. So the lowest, I'd say for a semi, the cheapest semi I've seen this year, just auto liability by itself at $1 million, about 6,000.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, people's down payment is 6,000.
Yeah.
And this guy's is 6,000 for the whole year. But then, I mean, we've seen them upwards of 90.
Yeah. I was going to say, I saw one the other day for about 78,000.
Yeah.
So
it's nuts. So credit can be a big one, and Progressive offers, like they will provide insurance to more people than any other insurance company. So like there's all kinds of different stats on drivers, operations, all these different variables, right? Progressive has like a broader scope of what they're willing to insure. Biggest thing is drivers with less than 2 years of CDL. So like if you're gung-ho, you don't want to be leased on or company drive or anything like that, and you just got your CDL, you're going to Progressive. More than like,
I don't know
National
of any
Indemnity.
company.
Yeah, National Indemnity.
So
or 3 by Berkshire, maybe.
3 by Berkshire. National Indemnity still has the requirement for the cargo policy. That's where
it's the same company. I don't know why they'd have different. Berkshire owns like 75% of all insurance companies. That statistic might be wrong, but it feels like it. Every time I turn around, it's like, oh, it's a Berkshire company. Really? Wow, they buy everything. All right, Sage, you full of it. You got a lot of questions, man. What should I do if a shipper breaks my trailer when loading?
Take pictures.
Shipper breaks your trailer. How do they break your trailer? Anything can happen. Shipper broke your trailer. You do a claim on their general liability.
Yep.
Yeah.
You take pictures.
Yeah, take pictures and get their insurance info. How did they break it? China-fornia. Wow. That's awesome. All right.
China. Sage had another question regarding when getting started. Should I go with an unlimited radius or should I stick to 500 miles? Honestly, this is going to be completely preference. Do you want to stay closer to home? Do you want to go over the road? How I look at it as you're starting a new business, right? It's already hard enough to get started. There's a lot of money that you're putting into the business to get things up and running. Don't limit yourself to 500 miles. Don't give yourself obstacles that you can avoid. So go wherever they'll send you. You go where the money is.
Yep.
That's how you stay in business.
Yeah. Anybody could be starting their trucking company for a number of reasons, right? Like you might know somebody that needs stuff moved and they end up being your only customer, or you move stuff for them and you do backhauls off of load boards. So you might know that your customer, potential customer, your friend, whoever, only needs stuff, moved regionally. Okay. And you're going to use load boards just to get back home whenever they don't have something for you. So 500-mile radius, sure. Go for that. When you get a Progressive policy and you're a brand new venture, you only have the option of 500 or unlimited. Depending on your operations and what you plan on doing and all the stats, you might not go with Progressive and they might have a lower radius option, but typically not. Like National Indemnity is another one that's like 500 or unlimited only for the first year. There's some exceptions to that. After you've been running for 6 to 9 months, you can provide like BOLs or ELD reports, and
Yep,
then
ELD.
and you can request a lower radius if you're doing something much 100, 200 miles, 50 miles, something like that. Yeah. All right. Ready?
Yep. Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, so I'll take this. So Kelvin, first question for you: do you have a policy? Did you get a policy with us? If you did, whether you got it through us or if you got it through Progressive Direct or another agent, everything should be sent over to you to e-sign. That should be done, within half an hour to an hour of you purchasing the policy. That should be all you have to sign. I know that Progressive sends out a welcome email after you purchase policy. It literally, you might get it in 10 seconds after we process a policy. It's very quick. And so you may get a welcome email that's having you download an app, getting that set up, but there shouldn't be anything left to sign.
There we go. Yeah, we throw that in DocuSign. You're good to go.
Yep. So it looks like Sage had a forklift. It's weird. It's funny you mentioned that, actually. So I actually just spoke with someone yesterday that they had a forklift go through the tail light when they were loading in on the truck. So I guess they need to be more careful about who they're hiring as forklift drivers.
Hold on. So don't call.
Yeah, don't
broker.
Don't call the broker.
What's the broker going to want to do with that?
Bye-bye. Let me put you on hold.
The broker didn't drive the forklift through it. It's not the broker's forklift.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're contacting the insurance company that, that the, where they loaded the freight. You're calling their insurance company. So let's clarify that. You're not going to call your insurance company. So you should have their insurance information from the incident.
I say this, like, take it lightly, everybody, but whenever you have a problem, go to the source. So, like, who's going to fix it? Like, how does it get fixed? Like, just go to the source, or try to. Can't always do that, but try to. Not a lot of drivers know that is. Hold on, what was it?
A lot of drivers call me saying the shipper broke the trailer or dropped the load on the trailer, thinking that the broker will pay.
Oh,
yeah, the broker's not going to pay. Yeah, definitely don't call the broker.
No, just like, if it depends on where you're at too. Like, if you're at a loading dock, of course, like, whoever's warehouse manager in charge of the facility, that's probably the last thing they want to deal with. But they probably have a procedure for it. So get in touch with whoever's in charge of that facility. Mm-hmm. Type sucks. You need
a call in show.
Oh
yeah, like Dave Ramsey.
Well, as soon as I figure out how to do it, we'll do it. Kelvin said, yeah, he got the policy through us.
Okay, I thought you did, because I remember you when you were in one of our previous lives. So yeah, we would have sent everything over immediately. I know for certain, so I can double check on that for you to make sure everything has been signed, just to be sure. But yes, that is correct.
All right, here's a good one. Nevada Trucking and Trails recently did an insurance quote from Progressive. Sounds like Progressive Direct, maybe online, or you called them. From my own authority, matching a couple with zero experience, no CDL. Me and my wife having 5 years, same variables, including truck. I was quoted $6,000 more. Oh man. All right, let's start in the beginning. So, are y'all both in the same states? Are your companies registered in the same states? Is your authority, like mailing, business, all that, exactly the same? Same address makes a difference too. Zip code's kind of like what it boils down to. All right. Are you the same exact age? Are you licensed in the same state? Are you the same exact age? That's just a few things. And then the truck, did you use VIN numbers that match, or did you use like year, make, model? Because sometimes we can, like, if you don't use the VIN, we have to, like, the agent has to select the weight class, and sometimes that gets messed up, and that's not something you typically see on the actual quote you get, like the PDF.
Yeah, no, it won't show.
So there's still a ton. There's a lot of people try to match and like, I've seen quotes that I've dug in. I've spent like an hour looking through a quote because someone sent me what they got from another agent or Progressive Direct, and it's like, how is this different? How am I getting a different rate? There's always more that could be different. It's like, it's quite a bit of data entry when we actually do a quote. So even if you actually do have like all of those data points matching perfectly, they could be typed in wrong. There could be other things we're not considering that we got to find.
Depending on what day you get the quote can also take effect. So like if you call Progressive Direct today, right, and they give you a quote, then you call us on Monday, we give you a quote. More than likely, it's going to be two different numbers.
South Carolina
Progressive
and Indiana
pulls
just
from
had rate
different credit
changes.
bureaus every single day.
Yeah,
So-
rate changes happen across the states kind of randomly. Some states have like scheduled rate changes each year. Like North Carolina typically has like one in April, one in October. If anything, sometimes they don't change, but those are the dates when they do change for a lot of the insurance companies that play around with trucking. And then, just depending on what state you're in, it could be different. So yeah. All right. So 33K and ours was 39.
So this is just
Same.
to confirm, completely different couple, right?
Yeah, completely different couple.
So credit score there, and not just the score, but credit history, right? You could have two people with a 700 credit score, let's say.
Oh,
and
right there, one zip code apart. They
Okay.
were older. Year, make, model. That could be
makes
another
a big
one.
difference.
Weight class makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So if the weight class selected was a little different, but probably maybe not in this scenario. I'd have to just take a look at them. You're more than welcome to email us the quotes, and I can try and dig into them, see what's different. Sometimes I can just read over the PDF that they'll send you and I'll tell you in 2 seconds. But yeah, like one zip code apart too. That's I've seen literally adjacent zip codes, right? Like if you're looking at a zip code map, and the rate for like one truck could be a couple thousand, several $1,000s difference.
Yep.
You just
down the street.
Yeah, like the bean counters at the insurance companies, like they're calculating risk based on what's happened in those zip codes. So apparently more people have wrecked probably in that zip code or had more claims. That's all it really is. Oh, okay.
Kelvin. So
Kelvin.
he got
He's working
a
with
quote
Tailored.
With Tailored, yep. So Tailored Insurance Group.
Yep, should be fine. They're good over there.
Yeah.
Brett and the gang. They're awesome. All right. Akeem. What's up, guys? I'm going to reach out to you guys for box truck insurance in the next couple of days. Do it, man. Free consultations.
Yeah.
We love to talk to everybody about what they, intend to do ahead of time so we can like iron stuff out. We're trying to like push this on other insurance agencies too. One thing that we face like kind of together, the truckers and the insurance agents, is all the issues that come from, like not realizing what all has to go into planning. And so we try to knock all that out in consultation calls and all the content we're putting together. So yeah, man, reach out. We're happy to help. All right.
We got another question. Okay, so over 60 days on authority, should I file an OCE 46 form to suspend, or am I too late? Are you familiar with an OCE 46 form? I am not.
Over 60 days authority, should I file?
I know that his question earlier was talking about the 30 to 60 day period for going active.
I can't see. So, Big Les, how soon before you actually want to go active? If you can answer that for me, maybe I can give you a better answer. I'm just wondering. Nevada trucking. We'll come back, Big Les.
Made a video on. Okay, so you're showing the two different quotes. Is that right?
Cool. I'll check it out.
Oh, he had no intention of getting his own authority. Question below. So he said, I have no intention of getting my own authority. I did it as a comparison, was shocked. Experience did give us a better quote.
Yeah.
Yep. And keep in mind, I believe you mentioned before that you had a CDL versus non-CDL. When you have had a CDL for two or more years, that does qualify you typically for a discount. So it is possible that has an effect on it.
The other thing is if both quotes came from the same broker, or if it came from two different brokers, or a broker and direct, like calling Progressive, going online, that type of thing, that makes a big difference. A lot of brokers might not run MVRs first, and you The experience might not, like any experience discounts might not actually hit until MVRs run. What else? Them not having CDLs might, well, no.
It depends. It would depend on if they ran MVR or not.
Yeah, everything can change.
There's so many variables.
Everything can change after you run the MVR, and a lot of times you don't get the MVR run until you're kind of committed. All right. So, or you're like on the edge of committing. Experience didn't give us a better quote. See, that's what he said there.
Oh, didn't give us a better
Yeah.
quote. Okay.
It might once we run MVR, if MVR wasn't run. Yep, showed both quotes. Yeah, I'll check that out, and I'll leave a comment on your video. Maybe if I see anything next year. Okay. Oh, okay. I would.
We'll see November. He's already over 60 days. So
next year early. I mean, just let it ride out. If not, then you just reapply.
Yeah, I think you're better off doing that.
Or just call the FMCSA, see how long they can extend you.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But here's the other thing: you call the FMCSA, you can get somebody that's really good, you get someone that's really new. I'm not gonna say they're bad; they're just new. They might not have as much experience. They might not know the systems as well, and there's like so much going on at the FMCSA because not everyone drives the same truck and hauls from the same A to B. With the same stuff. Like it's endless. Like as soon as if you could learn it all, right? Like if we take a snapshot of everything going on regulation wise, and you learned all of it. Well, by the time you're done learning it and we came back, like we unfroze time.
50% of it's changed.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Same broker. Okay. So at least the same person's entering the quote. But errors are made all of the time. Nick yells at me all the time, and Derek, because like Derek and I do a lot of the quotes, and he'll go to do a quote review call or policy purchase call with somebody, and like we missed something clear as day on the quote form that came in versus what we put into Progressive and sent out. Unfortunately, that happens. I mean, we do a lot of quotes.
Yeah,
and everybody does.
I can give you an example just from this morning.
I'm sure you can.
So not necessarily something a quote that was put in, but so we had somebody who sent in a quote, and they ended up on their side had a typo on their VIN by 1 digit difference, and the difference in the VIN was 3 years difference on the vehicle, 2016 versus 2019, $4,000 difference on their quote. So it happens.
Alrighty, so many variables we kept everything the same to try and CSI. I can't wait to go watch this video. Cool deal. What are 3 misconceptions shopping for insurance? Top 3
that you get your down payment back. A lot of people refer to it as a deposit, and they ask when do they get it refunded. It's not a deposit. It's not a safety deposit, security deposit.
No.
It's like, oh, you don't get in any accidents. Here you go. You can have this back. It's not how that works. It is a down payment.
It's down payment, and like punch your ticket, paying that, it doesn't get unpunched.
Right.
And it's all because of the regulation stuff. That 35 days that I was talking about earlier, like FMCSA is like holding the insurance company down, saying you can't cancel them for 35 days. And that works in your favor, and then it also doesn't work in your favor. So, yeah. That's kind of like one of the big bummers of not getting down payments. I mean, technically, if you started a policy and then like the next day you wanted to not do it, you could do a voluntary revocation and then come right back into it and cancel the policy. It's going to take a couple days for everything to update.
You might pay for 3 or 4 days worth of coverage,
maybe a week. Honestly. Yeah. But then because when you do your down payment, normally most insurance companies are going to be like 16 to 25% down. You're going to end up getting a refund, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks sometimes.
Yeah. Progressive's going to throw you a check in the mail or a refund to your account, which could be like, if your down payment
do a down payment with ACH.
Yeah. If you do like a bank draft for your down payment, it goes back the fastest. If you do like a credit card or something, then they've got to mail you a check, and that's going to take a little bit longer. If you go through any other insurance company, it could take much longer, especially if you have your policy financed through a finance company.
Yeah.
Because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 or 5 people involved in trying to get your policy canceled. So like, that's ridiculous. We try and stay away from the whole wholesale insurance. It's sometimes cheaper,
much bigger headache.
Almost always a worse experience. If you're like, I'm not going to go into that right now. Yep. All right. So other misconceptions. So down payment's one. Driving record.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so much for the business owners, some. Like, so like camera's really bugging me. Hold on. There we go.
I'll give you an example. Maybe
driving record.
Back and forth the driving record. So
yeah.
Let's say I get a speeding ticket, right? And it's based on like the state that I'm in. I have license points for the next 3 years. I have 2 points on my license for a speeding ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But then I go to get a commercial insurance quote and they look back 5 years. Does that speeding ticket count against me? And the answer is yes, it does. Even though you may not have any license points, it still goes against the insurance policy.
Yeah. And
the term fall off, right? We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought that came off my record already. It's technically there forever. Actually, it just depends on how far they look back.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. So like some states, some insurance companies look 3 years or 5 years, and they're all falling off. Right. So like the more recent it is, the more it impacts you. The older it is, even if it is within that period, the less it's impactful. Like if they have a 5-year look back period and you have something at like 4 years and 9 months, then that doesn't hurt near as bad as the same exact like accident, ticket, whatever that happened last week. So yeah, there's that. And I just always say get attorneys if you can, make that stuff go away. And also like, don't let stuff happen. So the other thing with driving records, people get confused about like, if I'm currently a driver for a company, right? And I get a speeding ticket or I'm in an accident, that shouldn't go against me because I was working for another company. It still goes against you. You're still the driver. Same with personal auto versus commercial. Just because you're in your personal vehicle, it's still going to stick to you on your commercial policy. That one comes up a lot.
Yeah, it does.
People think that, oh, well, that was just my personal vehicle. Like, well, you're still the same driver.
Right.
You're in a bigger vehicle that can do more damage. There's a lot more momentum behind a, 10 to
80,000 pound
80,
truck.
depending on what you're in. If you're in a hot shot, or a cargo van versus a semi versus a sedan that weighs 4,500 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Another misconception. God, there's a lot. So people think sometimes that like adding drivers doesn't cost anything. Some policies, some coverages within a policy don't go up if you add a driver. Some can, especially with like Progressive, and most especially if they don't have a good driving record, right? So you add trucks, you add drivers, you're increasing risk, you're increasing your insurance cost, right? Like the insurance company's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to take all this additional risk for free. All right. No, they're going to charge you for it. So there's that. It's not fun. It's just what it is. Got to play to pay. Got to pay to play.
Pay to play. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other misconceptions you run across?
No, not that would be very common. There's some one-offs, but
for shopping for insurance. Think about like people are like shocked. Cost is
cost is all, and that actually leads to his next question. He asked, "What's the highest quote that we've ever seen for a single truck?" I think Daniel mentioned earlier we've come across quotes $90,000-$100,000 before
for one truck.
For one truck,
yeah. We can't like give out details, but there's a younger guy out of Texas with a hotshot rig. He was like $98,000. Nope. Oh, sorry. $98,000.
Yeah.
It was like it was a fairly new truck.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was
still. So yeah, if you've got a long like record on your like a lot of stuff on your driving record, like multiple accidents, multiple tickets, moving violations, running stop signs, all that. it's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
And like, that's the other thing. Like a lot of companies won't even give you a quote, right? Like they'll just be like, no.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there that if you have
Progressive system is built,
Yeah,
built to like be profitable based on whatever you've got for the most part. Like there's,
yeah, they're not going to care. They're going to take any driver. As long as you've got a license, you're good.
Yeah.
You're going to pay though. If you have a bad record. And so that's the thing. There's a lot of companies out there that you'll go get a quote from and you'll be like, yeah, I've got a clean record. And then I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. All right. I believe you, right? Tell the insurance company or the broker that you've got a clean record. They give us the quote. Let's say it's $25,000 and then comes back that you have 2 at-fault accidents and a speeding ticket. Okay. Progressive is going to continually give you the quote. Rate's going to go up and we're going to be able to issue the policy and get your authority active. A lot of insurance companies out there are going to say, no, you've had more than 2, what they consider 2 major violations, which a major violation would be an at-fault accident, regardless of the damage. And then that would disqualify you from the quote completely. So Progressive may be more expensive in some situations, but the difference is they're still risking it and giving you the coverage.
Yep. Tracy Girl 42 searching for trucking insurance from Cali, new authority. So our partner,
she said ASAP.
Okay. Yeah. Fill out our quote form. There should be a link in the description already. Like I said earlier, we're not in Cali yet, but our referral partner, Tailored Insurance Group, they're awesome. They cover pretty much every state that we don't. And yeah, there's actually a good, few extra options in California that's not anywhere else. It's still that like wholesale insurance model where there's a lot of people involved in like making the insurance happen. So it can take a little bit longer. So that ASAP part is not always fun, but getting there. Yeah. Yep. I go on about misconceptions all day.
Yeah.
Or just stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
things that people run into.
Everybody's situation is different. And, we're constantly coming across new things. Yeah. I'll say that. I mean, we don't see it all.
Yeah. Let's see here. Nevada's. Here we go. They got good questions. All right. Has the increased cost of equipment translated into increased insurance cost? Example, a new dry van, 22 selling for $99.95. Yeah. Anytime you have something that costs more, it's just like it's more exposure. So, of course, more insurance premiums for higher priced equipment. Yep. And one thing that kind of sucks is, it's good and bad, right? Like if you go talk to the used commercial truck dealers, like if they have any inventory, they're like, they're happy because they've been getting
20 grand above.
They've been making so much money this year on commercial equipment because there's so much demand and no supply. But yeah, as far as insurance goes, I've had quite a few clients that have renewed, right? And like come up on their renewal for their insurance. And we, if you've got 10 trucks that were worth, 100 grand a piece last year, they're probably still worth 100 grand, like with a couple 100,000 miles extra on each one of those. It's nuts. Some are worth more. I had one guy that, bought a truck and sold it like a month later, made like $18,000. It happens. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I wish I had several $1 million to buy a lot of trucks this time last year.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably wouldn't be doing insurance.
Yeah, I'd still be doing insurance. I don't have a life.
So we have a new question here. Can a green card holder file new authority through the FMCSA?
Yeah.
Have you ever? I would say, have you ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I haven't known anybody to try.
Yeah. So. There's questions about citizenship. I'm going to do a video on that eventually. And just like, I'll probably do it soon. I'll put it on the list. We've been moving offices and, trying to keep up with everything recently. So
yeah,
if you haven't seen much from us, we've got a lot coming in the pipeline. We're excited to have the new space and gonna have a lot more content coming up. But yeah, we'll add that. We need to talk about like non-citizens starting trucking companies. It's totally possible. It's pretty cool. Right.
Provide my own bobtail physical damage. How often should I be shopping for better quotes? I mean, so
that's a loaded question.
Here's how I look at it. So, if this was a conversation about you having your own authority, I would tell you to complete a full term. Insurance companies like to see you complete full terms. So if you start doing a lot of midterms where you're just closing out of a policy to save a couple $1,000 here and there, you may get to the point where you may get to the point where an insurance company says you've changed insurance companies too many times and nobody wants to offer you insurance. I have seen it happen. That's more so on the wholesale side.
And like if you have claims,
yep. So
you want your claims closed out before you try and switch.
It's situational, but it depends also. I mean, I have seen bobtail policies. Sometimes some companies will do 6 months on one of those. So you may be shopping more often.
Yeah.
It's kind of dependent on your particular situation. And also your truck's continually going up in value right now. So
yeah. If there's some other scenarios though, right? Like we talked about driving records, stuff falling off, credit, you could, get a big lift in your credit or a big drop, things happen. So you might not want to switch if your credit just dropped, if you got something on your record or if something came off, or you just got your credit fixed, you got it up, then yeah, maybe that's going to help out tremendously. Like I'm talking big, well, not so much necessarily for bobtail, like physical damage can help a little bit there, but like on a full authority policy,
big
thousands
of
dollars. So yeah, but otherwise, try and run a year for every policy you got, or full term. So like if it's only a 6-month term, like keep it for the full 6 months. And otherwise I wouldn't switch unless it was thousands of a difference because you got another down payment to make. And then you're just starting right over again. Yep. All right. Thanks a lot about the answer. There we go. Makes sense for a deposit level. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people get that mixed up all the time, man.
Deposits?
They're like, when do I get my deposit back? Well, you don't.
No. Trying to think. Well, Canal has a deposit type of deal, but it's like they have this continuous billing program. I don't even know if they still have it, but you'll notice, and it's weird. Like if you've never done commercial insurance of any sort in the past, you're like, why can't I just pay like monthly every month, like on a 12-month plan? It goes back to that 35-day thing where there's got to be notice to the FMCSA. So they basically front load the policy a little bit, like on the billing, because you've got to pay for like your, those 35 days essentially. And then any other fees and stuff that can be involved in there, that's tacked into the down payment. So like, cause I mean, it can be a good bit of work trying to get a policy together. And if someone cancels the next day, like that would suck. And that's not even necessarily an option.
Right.
Not with trucking because the regulatory part, FMCSA kind of like sticks it to us, insurance and the truckers. But it's all to keep everybody safe, hauling heavy stuff across state lines. And it protects a lot. Where was I going with that? I'm going a lot of tangents.
Yeah.
Front loading the policy with the billing. Because like policies don't just bill for 12 months. Go back to Canal. Canal came up with this program where you pay like a deposit and then you have 12-month billing. And the idea is that you just renew with them every year. You never switch. So like technically, I think if you did that and then you got out of it, you might get a little something back. Like if you switch companies after a year or two, but it was normally like more expensive to enroll in that program and do their deposit like plus the first month than it would be to like just do a different billing option or go with a different company. I've never signed anyone up for that. All right.
So question about commodities. How important is it when I select my commodities?
So your commodities can influence your minimum required auto liability, the minimum required BIPD, bodily injury, property damage, not physical damage, property damage. So that BIPD is your auto liability. So when you're talking selecting different commodities, like if you just do general freight, right, and you have a commercial motor vehicle, at least one commercial motor vehicle, and you select general freight, you're not doing hazmats, you're not doing intermodal, UIIA, you're not doing anything extra special. You've just got like a box truck or a semi truck and a dry van. Your BIPD required limit with the FMCSA is going to be 750, right? $750,000 limit. So $750,000 combined single limit on your auto liability. Of course, you're not gonna get that more than likely. You're gonna get $1 million with your insurance. FMCSA just wants to see 750 because we haven't updated that in quite a long time.
40 some years.
I don't know. It's a long time. So if you were to go select like autos, then you're in like this special little category where your minimum required limit is bumped up to $1 million. If you depending on the insurance company, that can make a difference. If you go through and select every commodity because you're super excited and you want to go haul anything you can and you don't want to be limited on what you could haul, underwriters hate that. They want you to do one thing all the time exactly the same because then they can calculate your risk much easier. So in the beginning, let's do like general freight if that's kind of what you're thinking, or autos if you're going to haul cars or refrigerated goods, or like try and be a little bit more specific. I always say, like our agency, we only do trucking, right? Like we do transportation, like all we do is trucking. I think in my own little opinion, it's better to be a specialist than a generalist. So specialize in one of those commodities, and plan ahead. And another thing, if you're not doing just general freight, it's less and less options for insurance. Yeah. Like we've already got like this small little couple of options for insurance. And if you go out there and select different things, then you might be down to one option or no options, especially starting out.
Yeah. That goes back to my statement earlier where you're getting into a new business. Don't limit yourself unless you have to.
Yeah. All right. My second question is, did we miss the first one?
No, the first question
from
about the green card stuff.
Yeah. Yep. I went to Mack Trucking Company for a new 2022 26-foot non-CDL truck, 0 mile. Their price $116,500. Can you make profit if I buy it or finance it? Does it?
Can I make a profit if I pay $116,000 for a truck?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right? So
26
what's my payment going to be on 116, 0 down?
So you got like a 26-foot box truck.
It's going to be less than $2,000 a month payment, more than likely. $2,500, somewhere around there. You got to think about a lot of people get into this business doing rentals and pay $1,000 a week for a rental, and they're still doing fine
or more.
Yeah, or more. So
hopefully not.
Yeah, you can absolutely finance and then be able to.
Yeah,
be profitable. That definitely is not a worry.
Can you make money with that? Absolutely. But where, like, we got to ask some more questions. Where are you willing to go? All right. Like, and where are you starting? If you're trying to stay local, you better have like some connections. If you want to go over the road, are you going to stay out on the road? How long are you going to take breaks? I would say I see a lot of people end up closing up shop because they don't want to be out on the road all the time. Or they get like they go out for a few weeks, they come back, they take a week off, 2 weeks off, turns into 3 weeks, something comes up, then they go back out, and then like the lanes have changed a little bit. The rates are down. Like you got bills stacking up, like that gets people behind, and then a little bit behind becomes a lot behind, and then it becomes not worth it. But yeah, can you make a profit with that? For sure. But do you want to buy a brand new truck?
Probably not.
No, I mean it's just there's a million different ways to skin the cat. You got warranties, you got extra stuff that the dealer might throw in there for you. It's hard to negotiate right now though. So like, what was a brand new Mac like a year ago, 2 years ago? But also, what is it going to be next year? Yeah, and like a lot of freight. Freight rates are pretty high.
They're continually going up.
Yep.
So let's see. We have
all right. Next up,
documents. What documents and forms should we have ready before getting a quote? That's going to purely depend on your agent that you're getting a quote with,
and the companies that they can work with.
Yep. So I mean, with us, I mean, I don't even care if you have a DOT number. I'll still get you a quote.
Yeah, we've boiled it down. We got a little science to it. We don't need much unless you're already in business.
We just need what your idea is.
Yeah.
And we can build a quote off of that idea, whether you're renting or buying, what you're looking at spending, and so on. And, we'll build a quote around that, and we'll get some roundabout numbers, and then, give you an idea of what you're looking at. And we'll refine that as you get closer to getting on the road and, buying a truck or renting a truck, whatever route you're deciding to take.
Yeah. But with other insurance companies or insurance agents, brokers, first and foremost, have a copy of your MVR from the last 30 days. That's a good place to start. You're going to need that anyways for your driver file. So you might as well go ahead and get it. And you're so much more appealing if you come to an insurance agent with an MVR. It's like, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like a resume. It's like a resume.
An interview without a resume.
Yeah. Like if you're going to go to a job without a resume, that's like trying to get insurance as a trucker without an MVR. Like insurance agents don't want to run MVRs constantly. And if you're shopping, like let's just say you call 3 different agents. Why would 3 different agents all spend money on running the same MVR? They don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like we get a couple hundred quote requests a month, and those MVRs range between like $10 to $30 each.
Yeah, and that's I'd
have to fire me.
Yeah, we might have 3 to 5 drivers on a single quote sometimes. Or you may be an owner who's hiring a driver, and so we do a quote for you and we run the MVR, and then you're like, hey, 2 days later I found this guy because this guy's got a bad record, and just continue adds up. So just make sure you come prepared with an MVR.
Oh man,
it's going to save you a headache too.
Yeah, and then like if you're already in business, like IFTAs, loss runs, like claim reports from your prior insurance. If you're leased on right now, a copy of your declaration page for your insurance that can help with discounts and stuff. Or like we get part of our quote request system asks if you have commercial or personal insurance currently. If you've had it for a year, there's a discount for that. ELD discounts. Progressive's not the only one that does ELD discounts anymore. There's a few other insurance companies adopting that. It's awesome. If you're against giving up that driver data, the driver, like how hard you brake, how often you swerve, whatever. Like
lanes.
First they mandated ELDs. Guess what's next? They're going to mandate giving up that data.
Yeah.
All right. And like, if you're good, it benefits you. If you suck, like it's only going to hurt the people that suck, or it's only going to hurt the people that suck more than it does now.
Right.
Like if you're good, right, you kind of want it, right? Like all your data's out there anyways. If you own a trucking company, like I don't need much info if you've already applied for your DOT. I don't need much. I need your driver's license number and maybe 1 or 2 other things, and I can get you a quote because everything else is there. Yeah. This is part of it. If you're going to haul interstate, right? Like you got to give up your info. Last question, and we're going to wrap up. True or false? Once selecting a broker for insurance, the broker agent quote is what agent gets. Okay, so like if you submit, like let's say.
So I'll say I'm agency 1, you're agency 2.
Yeah.
He calls us for quotes.
Yeah, and
I submit the quote to National Indemnity.
I'll say you've got National Indemnity and I've got National Indemnity. We're 2 different agencies. And if he gets the quote to them first, then that locks me out.
Right. It doesn't lock him from selling you the quote, though.
Yeah.
It locks him from making a change to the quote.
Yeah.
So the quote that I'm given can also be given to the other agent as long as the submitting information is identical.
There's more to that.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's the short answer.
It also depends on your relationship with those underwriters.
Yep.
And it also depends on the underwriting companies, right? So like if he has access to national indemnity through, so it's not just him, right? So like say Nick is this agency right here and you go to get a quote from him and he has access to national indemnity through MGA broker number 1, okay? And I have access to NICO or national indemnity through a different MGA or broker number 2, okay? The broker MGA and MGA stands for managing general agency. So like national indemnity, for instance, they don't work directly with agents. You have to go through an MGA or a wholesaler. So if I have a wholesaler or MGA, they have a bunch of different names, that works a lot faster. Like he might submit it first, but then the underwriter doesn't get it done. My underwriter might get it done faster, and you came to me second. But I've got him locked out now.
Yep, that does happen.
Yep, and it also depends on how fast I can get my forms together, because there's all kinds of stuff we have to put together, and it also matters how complete the application is, right? So, like, if you call him and you don't have everything together yet, this happens all the time. A lot of times, the second and third person you call gets you quotes back faster, because when you call the first person, they're asking you all the questions that they need to like put forms together for. You don't have all of it, right? You might not have VIN numbers. You might not have driver's license number for one of your drivers, whatever. But now you're thinking about it and you get that together when you call the second person, right? And because you didn't have all of it ready for the first agent, that agent doesn't really like you right now. Like they might, whatever. But like it's something extra that is incomplete. All right. But now you call the second and maybe a third guy and you've got everything you need and you have everything ready to give to them, then they can hurry up and get it to their MGA, their underwriter, and get the quote back. That happens a lot. And that's part of how the system's a little broke, right? Because there's too many people involved, right? Like you need an agent that can make sure you're getting what you need, and we need a system we can plug that into and get quotes right back out of. And that's like where there's only a handful of companies that have that, right? Insurance is way behind the times. Way behind the times. Getting there though. We're trying to help push it forward.
Yeah.
All right. A couple more here real quick, and then I gotta get
pissed off at your age.
Yeah, okay. We'll come to that one. Can you talk about the ELD discounts you've seen people quotes get increased, and we are talking 5 miles per hour over? Is that going to factor? Like if you speed a little?
It's about how fast you accelerate in this. Like I know that if you're gunning the gas every time
and slamming the brakes,
it's gonna give you a bad driver score on your
I don't have access to like the actual data scoring, right, for that. But I mean, you don't for instance, Progressive, you're a brand new company, you get a 5% discount if you get an ELD, right? Like you're given that, like it's a freebie. Okay. And then at the end of your first year, you're going into month 11 and they're going to look 3 months back for scoring your ELD discount. All right. So months, what's that? 8, 9, 10, 11. 8, 9, 10. They're going to look at months 8, 9, 10. So like the best driving you've ever done in your life needs to be in months 8, 9, and 10. Okay. It should be all the time. It should be very consistent. All right. Disclosure. But that's where they're going to look back and then score your ELD discount. All right. So you were given 5%. You drove gloriously in those months. All right. And you got a 15 or 20% discount on your first renewal. So going into your second year, you got this fat discount. All right. And then there's maybe some other discounts that get kicked in now that you've been in business for a year. That's awesome. Third year or second year, halfway through, you start hiring some drivers. All right. And they suck. All right.
Yeah.
And in that little look back period, that 3-month look back period where they're trying to reevaluate your score, you're not getting penalized. You're just losing discounts. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Like we call it whatever. Now you get you're back to the 5% discount or no discount.
Yeah. Or no
right?
discount. Yeah.
Like, so technically like your rate just went up, like if you had a 15% discount and now it's 0 discount, your rate went up 15%. That sucks, but that's how it works. Right. Like you're not going to be penalized if like beyond that. Right. Like, let's just say, Yeah, like, so, I mean, in a way you kind of are. Like, if you got the 5% discount and those 3 months that they were looking at it scoring you, it was awful, and you lose the 5% discount, you're losing 5% that was already like a freebie, right? And a lot of people don't even get it, which is crazy. Like, especially for new ventures, like, you're going to get an ELD, get the ELD discount. It's a freebie. It's an extra 5%. And that makes, for a lot of people, that's like $500 to $1,500. Yeah. For the year. And, so yeah, everybody should be getting that. Little like perspective there on how it affects you. Like, yes, you can be penalized, but you're getting penalized what was already kind of given. Let's just say I pissed off a broker agent. Yeah, could happen.
It happens.
It happens. I don't really get upset about much anymore. I just like to share the info and try and help people get the best. All right, you're right. All rental, it's way high plus insurance. You calculate that it's like 5,000 plus every month, and renting is very hard.
He's talking about financing the $116,000 truck.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, rentals have gone up.
We've Call every day.
We've got a few hookups on rentals still, depending on where you're at and whatnot. If you check our website, there's a little section in there about rider and budget, some contacts to get commercial accounts through them. And that's just like literally a referral thing we offer. So if you're interested, check that out. Nevada, it's been a pleasure answering your questions tonight. Thank y'all. And if you got any more, hit us up. That's good stuff. Those is really good, everybody. One more here. Matthew Smith, undercover. What are you undercover for?
Interesting comment.
Sit up. This question's long. My recent insurance cost me $52.80 just for a one-time purchase. I recently got vaccinated. What's your thoughts on trucks allowing underage boys to be sold for the price of 3 bananas? Matthew, 3 bananas? Jesus. Oh man, $52.80 just for a one-time purchase.
I mean, pay in full is a thing.
What was that? What's that movie? The Answer's 23. Like, it's all randomness.
I have no idea.
Matthew Smith, undercover. He's part of the CIA. Troll. Yep. All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Happy Veterans Day again to all our vets. And check out the links below, all that good stuff. Check out our affiliates. That helps out. And if you have any questions, want to schedule a call, I'm going to unadd that. Really appreciate it. And we'll host some more of these. We'll have some more content out soon. Thank you all very much, and good night.
Have a good one, guys.
End broadcast. Why do I have to?